Yeah, so the Ducks hit the field for the first time today.
Yeah,
Brian,
exciting.
it's always difficult to assess spring practice. It's
Sure.
not like we get to watch them. Even if you work in the media and get the pass to, depending on the program, they allow a certain amount of access, and typically it's a lot of stretching and guys hitting the sleds and a little 7-on-7, and you don't get to see too much. So the info is obviously going to be positive from the school, and it's tough to get a good read. But you've been through this a million times and trying to get a beat on the team after spring practice and in watching the spring game. What are those indicators for you that are going to make you feel better about this team?
Well, like I said before, I think Lanning takes over a team that's ready to go. I think defensively, this team is very stacked. One of the things that Mario said on the way out that was really awesome was he said, hey, I recruited at a high level. There's a lot of young guys there. The cupboard is full. I'm not leaving this thing bare, and that rang true for me because, they did stack together some recruiting classes that have some serious players. And these players are, many of them, on the defensive side. And if they can stay healthy, you're going to see some fun things here. I think Dan Lanning takes over a defense that is just absolutely ready to rumble. Now, offensively, I think there's some really good players that might have kind of been schemed incorrectly. I don't think that Joe Moorhead is a bad coach in any way, shape, or form, or Cristobal is even a bad coach or any way, but I just think they didn't utilize their players correctly. And I thought they were very safe in what they wanted to do. They didn't take many chances. And I get it. I understand why they didn't. They wanted to play it close to the vest, but I think this is a team going into this is going to take some chances. So everybody wants to see what the offense is doing. There's some guys who have switched sides of the ball that are kind of interesting. And so it's kind of fun to see what happens there with spring, or they move positions. I think that can be really exciting to watch. But you're bringing back a team where you pretty much know who you have. You pretty much almost have a feeling for your two deep, which is fairly rare. I mean, I think a lot of times going into the spring, you're reshuffling the deck, and you might have, some starters here and there. You might have some guys that you are thinking could really be contributors, but I think Oregon's pretty well dialed in. I think you could pretty much say what you definitely know what their offensive line is. You don't know the quarterback. That's a big question mark. But whoever you have out of those three guys, you'll be fine. And then your running backs are young. Your wide receivers are young. Well, that's really exciting for a fan because you don't really know what you have. You have all this untapped potential. And now that we have this just super hype machine over these recruits, I mean, these kids, people know these kids as freshmen, sophomores in the country, and they're already a fan favorite. They haven't even been to the school yet. They haven't even graduated high school yet. And these people are living, dying by these recruiting crystal ball. Who's going to go here? The projection of this player to this. I mean, it's a big business. And so when they get to campus and they actually get to flourish a little bit, it's really exciting to see them. Now, I think it's also great as a fan to know you've got some seniors coming back or some guys that you're proven, and you really have high expectations. But this is a year where Oregon, not necessarily boom or bust, but I think Oregon has the potential to do some serious stuff this year and maybe even contend for that first game at Georgia. I also think they could come out and, really get served. You have a first-year coach. You have a bunch of guys who just came in. They might not gel the way we hope. I mean, there's some things out there that we don't really know. There's some unknowns, but I do like the energy. I like the vibe. And talking with the players over this offseason between the bowl game and now, a lot of them are really excited for this year. They like the new coaching staff, and they thought it was time for a change.
Well, if nothing else, they're going to have a quarterback most likely starting who's pretty familiar with Georgia. So Bo Nix has seen him a few times, not typically in a good way, but he's certainly familiar with their talent.